the heavy lifting for him by turning the ball over and letting him get a 28-point lead.
Okay, so speaking of those turnovers, this was a team that was not ready to play a team that was ready to play. If we could see those first 4 turnovers in a row, because they came bang, 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 and it's the shell shock of this. And so there's the first snap, and obviously neither Ben nor Connor made much of an effort to. You got to follow.
You got to get on that.
Come on,
Skip. Even if you just fall on, you lost yards, you punt the ball, you make them go. You got to just fall
on the ball. One of you two, and it's like you got it, I got it. No, you take it, I got it, and it goes in the end zone for a touchdown. And then here he goes, and that's just carelessness.
Yes.
That's like, I'm rolling out. I'm not sure where I'm going to throw this, but, and then that's just a little high and wide, but he maybe should have snagged it, and it turns into an interception. Then that one gets popped up in the air, and frankly, I'll be the first to admit, I don't even know who that guy was. Some backup defensive lineman, and he makes the catch of his life.
Right.
Okay, well, that's just like not meant to be. You're like, oh, my God. But then here he came, and to your point, he winds up, I tweeted in the first quarter, don't be surprised if he throws for 500 yards and he got to 501. Well, he's just going to be playing its backyard bin.
What you expect to do? You're down 28 points basically the entire game until midway through the third quarter. What do you expect him to throw for? The run game is all out, and they're saying, let's not give up anything deep. So you're really playing into his hands because all Ben wants to do is throw short anyway. So not giving him anything deep. So basically, you're just conceding, okay, take the 10, take the 12, take the 15. We're just not going to give you a 30, 40-yard touchdown. And so Ben ends up with a pile of numbers, Skip, but they were meaningless. You can't turn the ball because you do realize the reason why you got to that number is because you put the Steelers in the hole to begin with.
You did. So to me, even Ben with half an arm is still very dangerous for the reason you just said.
Yes.
But in the end, rising above this game was the kid I still love, and we've gone back and forth about him on the show. To me, the Browns are all about Baker Mayfield. He has grown up right before your very eyes, and for the first time in his life, he is finally starting to live up to all those commercials. And I get tired of them. I think they're great, but I get worn out from them because as soon as he'd make a play last night, we'd cut to commercial, and there he was in his house again for Progressive Insurance, right?
Well, you can't get a better audience than what you had last night.
You cannot, and he was a big star of the Nissan Heisman House commercials. Right. So the point is, I didn't love any of that because he kept painting the target on his back bigger and bigger, and he couldn't live up as he went through one coordinator, one head coach after another. And finally, Coach Stefanski has been the best thing that ever happened to him post-Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, obviously, because all of a sudden, he's got a comfort zone. All of a sudden, and you have disagreed with me on this all year long, the second best thing that ever happened to Baker Mayfield was, and I'm knocking on wood for Odell because I still think he's got a big, good heart and a huge talent, but when Odell went down and out, it clarified the receiving core for Baker, where he wasn't so Odell-centric anymore. He didn't force feed Odell the football. And all of a sudden, he could start spreading the wealth, and they started to look more like a football team, and he quit turning the ball over.
Right.
So he's now gone 11 games, 19 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That will work.
And it's Skip, but here's the key. Is not falling behind and being able to run the football because Chubb and Hunt was running it last night. Skip.
Yep.
Now, they didn't run for a ton of yards, but every time they needed – I mean, do you see those touchdown runs that Kareem Hunt got? That's how you want it. Now, if he was still in Kansas City, they'd be the prohibitive favorite for the next couple of years. But even as well as Baker's playing, I still believe he's the third best quarterback in that draft. I'm still taking Lamar and Josh Rosen. We're going to talk about him a little later.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
I hear you on Lamar. I'll give you Lamar. I will not give you Josh Allen.
What?
I will not. This kid is electric. Baker Mayfield is you're missing the point here. He's the driving force of the Cleveland Browns.
Skip, no. He's the driving force as long as you're not asking him. You got to think about it now. Think about when they took off when Chubb came back from that injury and they were able to run the football and now you can play fake. Do you believe he'd have been this clean had the game been nip and tuck and they put the ball in his hands? They did a great job. The Steelers did them a favor by turning the ball over like they did, Skip, because Baker could relax. They took all the pressure off him.
You remember, it was just a few weeks back in week 14. It was December the 14th on a Monday night. Baker played Lamar head up, and they went back and forth. can you top this? Yes, I can top that. And they went back and forth, and it ended up 47-42 Baltimore. It was a launch game for the Ravens.
And just imagine if a Lamar hadn't gone out. Lamar might have had 300 yards rushing, and it wouldn't have been that close. Y'all got a couple of drives of McSorley.
Yeah, but Baker Mayfield was electric in that game. He'll be electric. Again, am I going to pick them to win at Kansas City? I am not. But will anybody pick them to win? Nobody will, and that's when they will be dangerous.
Exactly.
Yep.
Skip, here's the thing. We saw this coming, and what normally happens, whatever you're weak at in the regular season, and you're fortunate enough to make the playoffs, when it gets exploited in the playoffs, it gets exacerbated. What couldn't the Steelers do all year, basically? Run the football. Okay, so now you can't run it come playoff time. They don't even worry about running. Now, I don't know what they're going to do in the draft, but they need to get a back, or they need to say, lineman, instead of all these pass sets, we're going to need you to put your hand in the dirt and come off the football. Now, one or two things, and it both might be true. But when you can't run it or you have issues, it gets exacerbated come playoff times, and it makes it look bad. But, Skip, they've been like this. They couldn't run the football. It just got exacerbated last night. On 3rd and 1, Skip, you got to get 3rd and 1. You got to stay on the field. They hand the ball to the fullback, and it's not his fault. He loses a yard. And then it's 3rd and 1. Ben tried to throw a quick pass. He gets batted up in there, and it's picked.
Yep.
Because you can't run it.
Yep. All I know is if Big Ben Roethlisberger threw for 501 yards last night, it's hard for me to believe that he's going to hang him up off that game.
No.
And he sat on the bench, and he was crying real tears. I don't think those were crocodile tears.
Well, if I'm a fan, I'm crying too, because you turned it over 5 times.
He did.
Well, he turned it over 4 times. The first one on Ponce.
But at home, if you're going to lose the turnovers 5-0, you're going to lose.
You're lucky, because if you're on the road and you lose 5-0, you're going to get beat by 30.
You are going to get beat.
Skip, look, in today's game, the quarterback is making so much money. It's hard, Skip. It's not like it was when Roger Staubach and all them other guys making $300,000-$400,000. We're getting punished. Skip, now they protect the quarterback. And how do you just walk away from $30 million? How do you just say, you know what, nah, I'm good? Where else you going to make that kind of money at? And if you notice, Skip, you hear more and more guys. You hear Aaron Rodgers says, now Aaron is playing unbelievable, but he says he wants to play into his 40s. Sure. Russell Wilson says he wants to play into his 40s. Skip, the money is just too good to walk away, and guys are playing at an elite level. The question is, the Steelers going to have to do some things, Skip. The Ben is going to have, I don't know, like I said, he just came off the elbow ligament, so maybe that had a lot to do with it, Skip. But I just don't know if you can just dink and dunk your way to championships. You got to push the ball down the field. You have to be able to run the ball sometime. They can't run the ball no time.
That is true.
And then they fell behind it, so now the run game and guys just, it's going to...
So, allow me to say that if Baker Mayfield ever so much as wins 1 Super Bowl in Cleveland, Ohio...
Oh, they built a statue.
Well, he might be even bigger than your man LeBron James.
Oh, they
I don't know. I don't know about that, because is football not bigger than basketball in Cleveland?
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
of course.
It is.
It's been there for so long, Skip. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if you were to win there are certain places, Skip, that if you win Super Bowls, to a lack of a better be sacrilegious, you're God. And Cleveland is one of those places.
You would be a God.
You look at what Jim McMahon did in Chicago. There are certain places, Skip, because the history of the franchise goes back for so far.
Yep.
You're royalty. It's never going away. You know, Aaron Rodgers and Favre and those guys, in certain places now, you got to win.
Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, guys. Good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. Good. Things going real well, BJ. Real well.
What a super wild card weekend. You know, it is days like today. I am truly thankful I get to sit across from you and do this show. Seriously.
Wow.
I mean, the game was, but I didn't see the intrigue that I thought I was going to get.
Oh, really?
No.
Pouring cold water on me.
What were you watching?
But that's okay. Your day coming.
You know,
your day coming.
You are such a pessimist and a naysayer.
Next Sunday. Now, what that say? See how you giggling right now? I need that energy next Sunday.
I mean,
next Monday. Next
Lots
Monday.
of it.
Yeah.
Super
next
wild
Monday.
card weekend was awesome. I agree with Skip. I did not move from my couch all weekend, and it was perfect. And we have to start by the shocker that we saw last night. The Browns capitalized off early mistakes by the Steelers to jump out to a 28-0 lead. last night. Pittsburgh turned it over 4 times in the first half and could not pull themselves closer than 11 points the rest of the night. Baker did not commit a single turnover and also had over 250 passing yards to go along with 3 touchdowns in the 48-37 win. So, Shannon, how shocking was this?
Yeah, we probably should have saw this coming. Now, I was with few ones, and they called Shannon, you're a hater because you played with the Ravens and you don't know what you're talking about. I say, Skip, the problem that I see with them offensively is their inability to run the football. You can't have 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, can't pick that up, and then you drop back to pass, and guy get his hands up, Skip, now you're off the field. And what we saw was Ben's inability to push the ball down the field. Now, in the last 30 years, the Steelers are the 4th team to turn the ball over 3 times in the 4th quarter. The teams lost by an average of 11 points a game. And those 4 teams, Skip, what was the final score last night? They were right on cue to what would happen to the previous 3 teams that did what they did last